Okay, everybody, I see that there are many people who have already joined in, so I think we can get the session started and we'll have more people joining in as we go along. Um, yeah, so folks, welcome again to another Learn with Mudrex webinar. Really happy to see you all here again. I just want to quickly get a sentiment understanding. How are you all feeling right now? I know that the markets are pretty volatile. If we see today, we are seeing some big drawdowns. Definitely, we've seen Solana, we've seen some large cap altcoins who have dropped pretty big. But I'm going to explain to you why this is probably the best opportunity to actually start lathering into the market during a phase where I believe the crypto market is heading, which is towards altcoin season. Okay. So without any further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and start the session and tell you exactly what we're going to be focusing on in today's weekly crypto brief. Okay. Okay. So firstly, guys, welcome back to another episode. If you've been tuning in regularly, you know what this is all about. But if this is your very first time here, welcome to the community. This is episode 6 of the series, and let me just say that it's been incredible so far. We started this series with a very simple goal to basically cut through the hype and give our community a sharp, clear, and actionable view of what's really happening in the crypto space. Every session over here, okay, every session that we have hosted so far is built to make you a smarter trader and investor in this market. Okay, whether you're brand new to crypto or you've already been in this game for a long time. Okay, we break down all of the macro trends, we'll decode some of the on-chain signals, and we'll also discuss some emerging sectors as well. Okay. And of course, I will also spotlight some coins that I believe is the best coins that you need to be looking at this phase of the market. Okay. Now, a quick disclaimer is that crypto moves extremely fast, and we have seen this over the past week. Okay. Narratives will shift quickly. Price action can be very volatile during this period, and it's easy. It's very easy to feel like you're constantly playing catch up. So, we have created this weekly catch up basically to help you stay one step ahead. Okay, it's our way of actually equipping you with the right sort of framework and also the right focus areas week after week. Okay, so with that said, let's just get into what we got lined up for today. There's a lot to cover, but I think this is a very pivotal week for crypto and for the broader bull market, right? This week, we're going to be discussing all about altcoins. All right. So let's get started here. Okay. So what are we going to be covering today? Now, if you've been watching the markets lately, you will know that something is actually happening beneath the surface. All right. While Bitcoin is still actually holding pretty strong, and ETH as well has had some strong weeks, we're seeing a clear shift in momentum towards the broader altcoin market. Okay, I know that today has been a red day, but this is textbook during something called an altcoin season. So that is a core theme that we are going to be covering today. Are we firstly in an altcoin season? What even is an altcoin season? And what is the best strategy to actually approach this season? Because usually this sort of period during the crypto market is very volatile and it can actually end pretty quickly as well. Okay. So all of which I'm going to be discussing today will be focused on this sector, on the altcoin sector. Okay. Okay. So first, I will be breaking down what exactly altcoin season is. If you've heard this term being thrown around crypto Twitter or many Telegram groups, but you're not really sure what this is, I'm going to clear that up for you. Then I'll take you through some sort of historical context. How long do alt seasons actually last? How do they play out over a market cycle? And more importantly, where are we right now in that cycle? After that, we're actually going to zoom out into the indicators I'm tracking, these include both technical signals and also broader market dynamics that are actually pointing to the fact that alt season might have just begun. All right. Once we've laid this foundation, I'll walk you through a strategy to actually approach this phase of the market cycle. Okay. Um, See, things can move very, very quickly, but if you do not have a strategy in place during this phase, you will not experience the upside that many other pro investors will. Okay, so I think this is a very, very crucial part of the session that I want all of you to actually tune into. Okay. Now, once we're done with that, we'll move on to the news roundup. Basically, I'll talk about some of the real momentum on the regulatory front in the US, and also some bullish news regarding mainstream adoption of crypto as well. Okay. And finally, before I go on to your questions, I will actually talk about the sector, which I believe is primed to grow right now. I'll also tell you my top picks within that sector, and we can have a discussion on that as well if you guys hold any of those coins. Okay. And finally, as always, we'll wrap things up with a dedicated live Q&A session. So this is your chance to ask me anything. It can be market outlook, it can be trading strategies, it can be some certain coins that you are unsure of actually holding, or if you're unsure of whether this is the best time to enter. All of those doubts, I will make sure to get that cleared. All right. Okay. Now, before we jump in, I just want to say this again. This crypto bull run is entering what I believe is the next phase of growth. Okay. We're seeing stronger narratives. We're seeing fresh money rotate, and there is early signs that altcoins are beginning to wake up in a big, big way. Okay. But here is the thing that I want you all to take away. These phases don't last forever, and they don't wait for everyone to come around. Okay. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines or you're watching from a distance, now is the time. Today, right? Today, when the markets are red, when there is fear in the markets, this is the time to start putting these learnings into action. Okay. So let's get you better prepared, better positioned, and of course, more confident in how to actually approach this space during this period. Right? Cool. Okay. Now, before we get into it, just a quick intro from my side for those of you who may not know me and joining me for the first time. My name is Anush, and I'm part of the research team here at Mudrex. What I do day in and day out is basically dig through the noise and uncover the undervalued altcoins or any sort of signals. Okay, I look for undervalued sectors and any sort of trend that is in their early stages. And I also look at ecosystems that have the potential to actually break out, not just this week or next week, but over the next few months as well. So, primarily, my work spans across fundamental research, on chain analysis, and also technical signals, all with that one goal in mind of spotting opportunities before the rest of the market actually sees it. Okay. And I've been doing this for about 6 years now. This is my sixth year in the crypto space. And I've had the chance to see several market cycles play out. I've seen 2019, the brutal bear market, to DeFi summer in 2021. Then I saw the entire altcoin mania in early 2021 again. And of course, the bear market lows of 2020 and 2023. Uh, Now, with all that experience, I do believe that right now, this is the start of the next explosive phase in crypto. Okay. That rotation phase, which I will explain as well, is happening right before our eyes. Okay. Um, and yeah, I want to spend a moment talking about that because it's important context for everything we'll discuss today. Okay. Right now, what I think we're seeing is a very, very familiar pattern, one that I've been watching very closely, and frankly, one that I've been anticipating and talking about in the past sessions as well. Bitcoin led the charge this cycle. Okay, it always does. Institutional capital poured into this asset, spot ETFs launched, BTC dominance shot up, and most of the attention, rightfully so, was on Bitcoin. But now, if you look closely, there is a definite shift that is happening. A quiet but powerful rotation of money from Bitcoin into altcoins is happening as we speak. Okay. This is something I've seen play out multiple times in past cycles. It usually starts very slowly, very quietly. Maybe a few layer ones start moving, or a couple of mid cap coins with strong narratives also begin to outperform. Then it spreads. Okay, suddenly you've got entire sectors within crypto just lighting up. And before you know it, we're deep in what the market calls an altcoin season. Okay, what is very interesting is how fast these things can move in crypto. Altcoin rallies they don't go up in straight lines, all right? They will have dips, like what you're seeing today. You will have 20%, 25% drawdowns. So you have to be able to actually digest that. But equally so, the rallies will be very explosive. So if you saw the last week or so, you saw some coins doing double digits, some coins even doing like triple digits in a day, right? This is exactly what the start of an altcoin season looks like. Okay. Uh, and this is the moment to actually start being diligent. I'm not saying be very cautious, and you know, um, it's a time to start like panicking or thinking that you're late. I'm just saying zoom out, think in terms of sectors, not just individual coins, and look for some narrative that has staying power, right? Like look at AI, look at gaming, look at layer ones. All of these sectors have some sort of real use case, real utility, and then position yourself before the major move of fresh capital enters the market. Okay. This is the opportunity to grow both in terms of your portfolio and your understanding, but only if you're strategically positioned and not chasing these pumps blindly. Okay. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up now at the beginning of today's session is because I don't want this altcoin season to be something you realize after the fact, after it has happened. Too many people look back 6 months later and say, I saw the signs, I just did not act. Okay, I've heard this plenty of times, and I don't want that for our community. Okay, one of the core goals behind these weekly briefs is to actually help you prepare for what's coming, and not just comment on what might happen. Okay. So when I say I've seen this setup before, I really mean it. The early signs are here, and I can tell you with confidence this is the time to be focused and intentional. Right? Cool. Now, with that said, I just want to, before get into what altcoin season is and what you guys can expect, I want to know from all of you, how many of you are altcoin holders? Um, so meaning you hold coins other than Bitcoin. And I want to know your portfolio as well. How many of you are holding large cap coins, small cap coins? What is your biggest holding? Put your comments in the Q&A box so that I want to see what everybody's saying here. What is the majority of you holding? Which altcoin are you most bullish on? Okay, so Ripple, XRP has had a great week. Solana, wonderful. Bonk, okay. Bonk has been outperforming as well. XRP and Solana, I'm seeing a lot of XRP, Solana, Dawn, Ondo, wonderful. Yeah, these are all brilliant projects. Okay. XRP, again, Arbitrum, wonderful. See, so these are utility based. See, it's not bad to have meme coins in your portfolio. I do not dismiss of them, but it's good to always have the utility based coins as the majority of your portfolio and keep like 5 to 3% in meme coins. Because ultimately, meme coins can move as well if they have a strong narrative, right? If there's more attention in meme coins, that sector is going to blow up. Okay. So I would actually say hold a little bit of memes. Maybe the risk is not holding these as well. Okay. We can discuss this later as well. Uh, okay. I see a lot. I see Ape, Beam. Beam is a great project. Radium. Wonderful. So it looks like all of you are holding alts. You're holding a diversified basket of alts. And I think that is very, very good because right now we are seeing a rotation from Bitcoin into altcoins, right? And I would actually say if any of you are very, very heavily in Bitcoin, it might be wise to actually rotate some of that capital into your favorite alts. Okay. After you've done your research, of course, but mindshare is slowly rotating now. And I just want you all to be prepared for that. Okay. Cool. So let's go ahead and actually discuss. Yeah, of course, before I go any further, any of the coins that I'm going to be discussing now and during the Q&A should not be treated as financial advice. This is just educational purposes and from my experience and my opinions. Um, do your own research. Always, guys, do your own research and come up with your own sort of thesis as well. Okay. Okay. So let's discuss alt season. This is something that I'm sure all of you might have heard of, but what exactly is an altcoin season? Okay. See, the thing is, in a bull run, in a crypto bull run, when altcoins start massively outperforming Bitcoin over an extended period of time, that is what we call an altcoin season. Okay. So basically, if we see, say, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, Chainlink, meme coins, AI tokens, you name it, right? All of these tokens start outperforming on a week-on-week basis. That is considered as an altcoin season. Okay. The best way to think of it is like this. In the first act of a bull market, Bitcoin is the main character. It will get all of the spotlight, all of the recognition will be on Bitcoin. But once it's had its big moment, then it will start to slow down a bit. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's price will crash. In fact, it might keep rising, but that spotlight will start swinging into alts. And suddenly, the rest of the altcoins, the mid caps, the low caps, will start taking center stage. Now, that is a full blown alt season, right? Now, if we're going to discuss how this happens, what are the different stages of an alt season? This is something I discussed, and I believe in the third episode, but I think this is actually taking place right now. Back then, in the third episode, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now, we weren't in alt season yet, but I was bracing you guys for a shift that might happen very soon. And I think that shift has already started taking place. Okay. I'm not saying we're late, but it has definitely started. All right. And now is the time to actually put this into practice. So let me just explain the typical flow of money in crypto. Now, altcoin season isn't random. It's actually part of a very predictable pattern that tends to play out in most market cycles. And this is something I've seen again and again over the last 6 years. Okay. Here's how it actually happens. Step one, new money will enter crypto, mostly through Bitcoin, whether it's institutions or retail. BTC is usually the first to pop. Step two, Bitcoin starts to run. It goes, rallies very hard, makes people a lot of money, momentum builds, um, and all of the recognition is on Bitcoin. Now, step three, BTC slows down or consolidates. Maybe it even goes a little sideways after hitting a new all-time high, and it could also retrace a bit. That's when traders and investors start to think, okay, where else can I put this capital for higher returns? All right. Now that's where step four comes in. Money begins to rotate into large cap altcoins. You can think of Ethereum, think of Solana, think of Cardano, all of these coins. These are the safer but yet higher conviction plays. After this is step five. You will get the explosion at this stage. Okay, money starts moving from these coins into mid and low cap altcoins. You can think of coins like Aave. You can think of even riskier but higher reward coins like AOS Network, which is an AI coin, Beam, which is a great gaming token, and some of the meme coins as well, like Pengu, Bonk. All of these will start running as well. Okay. That's when things go vertical. The charts will look like fireworks and coins could double, they could triple. And I've even seen 10x's in a matter of weeks. Okay. I'm not saying that this will play out exactly like it did in 2021, but so far from what I'm seeing in the charts and what's happening right now, it does not look any different. Okay. And that is when everyone will start talking about all season. It usually happens in step 4. That's when people actually know that, okay, we are in all season. But I'm telling you all here today, each and every one of you, that I do believe that all season is here already. Even if there is no flashing indicator of saying that we have arrived, this is the early stage of an all season. Okay, cool. Let's continue. Let's keep going. Now let's look at the key indicators that actually tell us where we are in the all season. Okay. One of the cleanest signals is a drop in something called Bitcoin dominance. So this is basically the percentage of the total crypto market cap that belongs to BTC. When Bitcoin dominance is rising, it usually means money is flowing into BTC. So the focus is still on Bitcoin. Okay. But when that dominance actually starts to drop, especially when Bitcoin's price is consolidating or it's remaining stable, that's usually a sign that capital is rotating into altcoins. It's basically the market telling us, hey, we're ready to move out of Bitcoin. And I want to see beyond Bitcoin, what is out there. And right now, we're starting to see those early cracks happening in Bitcoin dominance. Nothing explosive yet, by the way. This is just the setup. The setup is just forming. Okay. And yeah, the next point is the altcoin season index. Okay, there's also this tool I look at to confirm what the market is doing. Many analysts use this tool as well. Basically, this index, it looks at the top 50 altcoins and checks how many of them have outperformed Bitcoin over the past 90 days. So if it is 75% or more have actually outperformed BTC, that is official. We are officially in an altcoin season. If it's less than 25%, we are still in a Bitcoin dominated season. All right. And anything in between is that transition phase. Okay. The market is just warming up. Some sectors are already getting pretty hot. And that's how it always starts, sector by sector, then coin by coin. Okay. Now, the final indicator is a liquidity rotation. Now, here is something we've been noticing in this cycle. This is very unique to this cycle. Okay. All season isn't just about money flowing out of Bitcoin anymore. That's was there in 2021, was there in 2017. What we are starting to see now is new money entering directly into altcoins, especially through stable coins. So instead of traders selling BTC and rotating into oils, what we're now seeing is people entering the market, buying Ethereum or Solana straight without even touching Bitcoin, right? So that's a big shift. And why is this happening? Because of the availability, the accessibility of these alts, right? Like my last session, I was talking about ETFs, how there's going to be a potential alt season triggered by these ETFs, right? We have Ethereum ETFs live, we have Solana ETFs already live, and soon, and I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot more altcoin related ETFs that will start going live, right? So that brings in huge amount of fresh liquidity just into altcoins. Okay. So basically, if you're seeing a spike in altcoin volume, especially in stable coin trading pairs, that's another sign that the rotation is already underway. Okay, so I guess the next question is, why does the altcoin season even happen? Okay, at the end of the day, it all comes down to returns and psychology. Okay, once BTC has made a big move, people start chasing the next opportunity. And altcoins, especially lower cap ones, have the potential to deliver tremendous outsized returns. Okay, it's not uncommon to see coins go 5x, 10x, even more. If the timing and narrative are right, that is the main point. You can't just, you know, allocate money into a random low cap coin and expect it to deliver results like I've mentioned. You need to be able to know the narrative and you need to be able to know whether the attention is actually flowing into that narrative. Okay. Now, as the market gets more confident, risk appetite grows, retail will jump in. Everyone's looking for the next breakout. Okay, so that's when FOMO kicks in. And that's what really, really fuels the last leg of all season. Okay. But the key thing, and this is something I mentioned earlier, the momentum is short-lived and it's fast moving. I'll also explain the timelines for what I'm expecting and when I think alt season will actually end. I know I've just said that it's started, but I'll give you a realistic timeline as well, so that you guys can benefit from that. Okay. So to just sum it up here, altcoin season is basically that sweet spot in the market cycle where capital rotates out of Bitcoin and flows into the rest of the crypto ecosystem. Okay. It's basically fueled by a mix of profit taking, risk appetite, and fresh money entering the ecosystem. And if history is any guide, we're entering that phase right now. We're in the very, very early stages of that phase. Okay. Cool. Now, next, I'll actually walk you through how long these alt seasons typically last, how they have played out in the past cycles, and the key indicators that are actually telling me that, this is just the start. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay. Okay, now that we've established what an altcoin season is and why it happens, the next, I would say, logical question is how long do these seasons usually last? Okay. Uh, Months of opportunity, or do you think it's a year-long sort of frenzy? Like we've seen Bitcoin now in a bull run for over a year now, but I think the altcoin sector has its own market cycle. Okay, and if it's very, very clear to see that if we just look at previous historical data. So let's just look at back at some of the previous bull markets to get a better sense of what is happening right now. Now, let's rewind to 2017. This was one of the most iconic crypto bull runs. Okay. Bitcoin had a had an insane run going from under $1,000 to nearly $20,000. Okay. But interestingly, it wasn't just Bitcoin that was printing these massive gains. That you saw a massive, massive rotation into altcoins, especially in the second half of the year. Now, from around March to January of the next year, we saw full-blown rotation. Bitcoin dominance dropped from over 85% that year to under 40%. And coins like Ethereum, Ripple, and dozens of other alts stole the show. All right. That's when we really got the first taste of what an altcoin season felt like. Okay. Now, to put numbers to it, the most explosive part of the altcoin season, the everyone's doubling their money every few days part, lasted for about 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 months it lasted. But the broader trend from early inflows into ETH to the final, there was also a very initial coin offering that was the huge narrative at the time. Uh, Peak that happened because of it ran for close to 10 months. Okay. So even though the wild gains came in quick bursts, the setup actually took several months. And if you were actually positioned early, that window was incredibly profitable. Okay. Now then came 2021. Um, this pattern repeats, but there was a twist here. Bitcoin again, led the charge, climbing all the way to new highs around April. But just like before, once BTC started to slow down, we saw capital rotate heavily into altcoins. This time again, it was Ethereum. There were new kids on the block like Solana, Avalanche, many meme coins like Doge, Shiba Inu. They all had their moment, right? Um, Now, by mid to I would say April 2021, Bitcoin dominance again fell to around 40%, and the altcoin season index was above 90. And just like in 2017, there were multiple waves. There was a cooling off period in the summer. Altcoins rallied again towards the end of the year. And new narratives at the time, there was a lot of hype on metaverse tokens. If you guys remember, there was gaming tokens as well, which grabbed a lot of attention. Okay. And again, the most intense, I would say the most vertical phase lasted a few weeks to a few months maximum. But from the first signs of the rotation to the final top, it was again close to 10 months. So what is the lesson here that I want everybody to focus on? Yeah. In both the major cycles, the most explosive altcoins came in short bursts, but the overall alt season ran from anywhere between 6 to 10 months. Okay. That's important context for what we're seeing today. Okay. Because while we all want to time the exact top of an alt season, the real opportunity comes from being early. And it's not about being perfect, from being positioned before the huge, insane rallies rather than trying to jump in mid because of fear of missing out, right? It's about having that strategy to enter early. And that's why I want to walk you through what I'm seeing right now, right? So, what we first saw is that Bitcoin dominance. There is cracks forming. This is one of the cleanest indicators we have right now. We talked about this earlier, but I'll just give you an update, right? Just this past month, Bitcoin dominance dropped from around 66 to around 61%. That's a major shift, especially considering Bitcoin hasn't really been crashing. So when Bitcoin dominance is falling while its prices hold relatively steady, it means something specific. Money is rotating, it's happening. Okay. And historically, when dominance breaks these key levels, like we're seeing now, it opens the floodgates. Now, back in 2021, BTC fell all the way to around 40%. That's a long way down from where we are now, which tells me that we are still early. Okay. Um, and yeah, like I mentioned, there is fresh money, there's fresh momentum in this altcoin sector. There's huge narratives that we simply did not see in the past. There's so much regulatory green light that's given to altcoins now, which was simply not there in the past. And the accessibility as well to these alts have opened windows to fresh money just coming in. Okay. So yeah, where are we now in this cycle, right? Let me show you three charts here, which basically explain how long does this altcoin season last for, okay? Now, the one chart that you're seeing on your top left is the 2017 chart, all right? The 2017 bull run. And the charts, all of the three charts are basically total two. So this is the altcoin season, altcoin market cap index, basically tracking the entire crypto market cap, excluding BTC. Now, what is interesting is that the vertical line, the vertical blue line, is basically Bitcoin's halving. I marked it in all of the three charts. Let's take it one by one. Yeah. So the first one on the top left is the 2017 bull run. And what we saw is that from Bitcoin's halving to the altcoin sector topping out, it took 553 days. Exactly 553 days. Now fast forward to 2021. So 2020 was the halving for BTC, and the altcoin sector topped at 546 days, not too far off from the previous top, right? So let's extrapolate that data for this time. 2024 was the halving. April 2024 was the Bitcoin halving. Now let's take that and let's take an average and let's say 550 days from now. Okay, that let's just take that as a historical timeline and let's see where it might lead us to. Now, if we do that, that shows us that altcoins might have a top around Q4, October this year. So this is just patterns that we're seeing play out. And the correlation from different cycles, it's there for everybody to see, right? So this is just to brace yourselves. I'm not saying that you should be concerned or anything, but allocate by looking at charts like this. All right, this just gives you a perspective on where we might be. All right, cool. Okay, so if I had to map it out based on history and what the indicators are saying right now, I'd say we are actually past the Bitcoin only phase. I think we're past that. I'm not saying that Bitcoin won't go higher anymore, but I think that we'll see more returns in alts from now on until the end of the cycle. We are in the early to mid stage of large cap altcoin dominance, meaning I think we're in phase two already. And finally, I think the conditions are building for that next phase. I do believe that we will start seeing some small cap coins really going up. I think we've already seen some, but this is just the start, right? Um, Now, the opportunity in front of us right now feels very, very familiar. As analysts, we've seen this. I've seen this rotation before. But like always, this is the moment to stay sharp because once things start moving, they move fast, right? And on that note, in the next section, I'll walk you through exactly how I think investors and traders should be approaching this alt season, how to structure your portfolio, and what sectors to watch, and how to actually avoid any sort of traps. All right. So let me go through that. Okay, so before I go through that, I want to see what you guys think of all season. Where do you think some of your favorite coins are heading? Let's start with Ethereum because I did see a lot of Ethereum and Solana. Where do you think Ethereum is going to top out this market cycle? Let's hear some price predictions here. And it'll be interesting to see how many of you think Ethereum would reach, let's say, 6 or 7K. If you think Ethereum would reach 6K, let me see that in the chat. 75285. Okay, great. This is actually 9K, 5.5K. Okay. And what about Solana? I've seen a lot of people who have Solana in their portfolio. So where do you think Solana is going to top out by the end of the year? Let's just say end of the year. 550 to 650. Okay. Yeah, this is the general sentiment. So you guys are on track. And yeah, 550, 650, 300, 375. 300 is very conservative. I think it will pass that. Um, 550, 650. This is the general sentiment that we're seeing right now. 350. All right. Perfect. So yeah, let's get into the next portion now on how to actually approach this season. Okay. And I want you all to pay attention here because this is the make or break part of this session, right? We've talked about what altcoin season is, why it happens, and also the indicators that actually suggest that we might be in the early stages of one right now. Okay. But you need to know how to approach it wisely. Okay. And like I said, this is a time when your portfolios can actually grow very, very quickly, but also where gains can disappear just as fast if you're not strategic. Okay. So let's talk about this. Now, one of the most fascinating dynamics, I would say, in altcoin season is what many traders call the popcorn effect. Okay. Think of a pot of popcorn heating up on the stove, right? The kernels don't just pop all at once. You get one or two in the beginning, then a few more, and then suddenly it's popping like crazy in random rapid bursts, right? So think of it like that. Altcoin season works very, very similarly, right? Different sectors in the market heat up at different times, one after the other. It's not like every coin will go rapidly to the upside at once. One week it might be AI tokens. Next, the spotlight might shift to DeFi. Then suddenly it's gaming and real world assets or meme coins. Yeah. The key here is this: it's not about individual coins, it's about entire categories. Okay, so if you're building a strategy for alt season, don't think in terms of just individual coins. Think in terms of sectors. Think in terms of narratives. Okay, instead of randomly scattering your portfolio across whatever's trending, organize it like a set of buckets, each one representing a promising sector with potential upside, right? If one of those sectors pops, you're already in position to ride that trend. This way, you're not just like constantly chasing whatever is just pumping. You're strategically placed before that move happens, right? So during an alt season, it's tempting. It's tempting to go all in on that one coin you just saw go viral on Twitter, or you're seeing some massive gains in terms of price. But don't do that. A smarter approach is to actually diversify across multiple sectors and different range of market caps. Okay. So this is how I break it down. I have a solid base of large cap alts like Ethereum, Solana. These are often the first to move and tend to hold value better. Okay. Then layer in some mid-cap tokens with strong narratives. So I am positioned in DeFi. I hold Aave. I hold Jito. I hold Radium. These are the different coins that have a lot of attention and mind share right now, right? So I'm in those mid caps as well. And for higher risk, high reward exposure, add a few small cap gems also, but only after you've researched them thoroughly. All right. And yeah, this is just very important. Don't just buy something because it's cheap. A lot of small cap tokens might pump because of hype, but without real fundamentals, they can dump just as fast. Okay, so ask these questions. Does this project have a real product? The first question you have to ask. Is the team active? Second question. And then is there real adoption taking place? Are there actual users even using this? These are the three questions you need to ask. And if the answer is yes to all of them, that's when you add it to your watch list. Yeah? If not, skip it. Altcoin season rewards conviction, not just blind speculation. Okay. Now, next is having a profit taking plan. Okay. This is where most people mess up. When prices are flying and your portfolio is going 2x, 3x, 5x, it's easy to think, let me just hold a little longer. Maybe it will double again. But the truth is, this is the harsh truth. Altcoin rallies don't go up in a straight line. And we're seeing that today, right? We're seeing some red days. This is how it is. And that's why you need a profit taking plan before any sort of emotion takes over. Now, this is how I approach this with profit taking. I usually take a tiered approach, meaning if a coin doubles, I take 20% off the table. If it triples, maybe take out another big chunk. Then I leave about 10% in. I've already secured my profits. I've secured my initial investment, but I leave that 10% in just to make sure that perhaps there might be a little bit more upside, right? So I let that run. Yeah. Now, if you ride an alt all the way up and you have a sort of dollar value that you want to reach, most often than not, the market always will not reach that dollar level. All right. And you might just end up holding that coin for years, not talking months. All right. So remember that the goal isn't just to make profit, it is to keep them. You need to realize them. All right. Now, three, I think this is something that you all might have heard of already. Manage risk and your emotions. During all season, FOMO is everywhere. Okay, your friends are posting 3x gains on Telegram, crypto Twitter. Every coin feels like it's about to go parabolic, right? But the reality is you won't catch every opportunity, and you have to be ready for that. And it's totally okay. You can't expect all of your coins to do 3x's. Okay, the smarter move is to actually set boundaries before it begins. So, for example, decide in advance how much of your portfolio you're willing to allocate to high risk altcoins. Okay. For smaller cap, maybe limit exposure to 3% of your portfolio max. Then, if you're actively trading, always use stop losses and be honest about how much downside you can actually digest. And emotionally, try not to get caught in the loop of chasing these pumps or panic selling during dips like today. Okay. Altcoin season is volatile, folks. You'll see 40% days followed by 20%, minus 20% pullbacks like today. It's just part of how the market works. Okay. So take a deep breath, stick to your plan, filter the noise, and don't let someone else's timeline throw you off of your own. Okay, I know I've spoken about timelines, but if you have your own strategy, that's great, that's fantastic. Follow that, but always remember to have that sort of profit taking and exit strategy that you have in place, right? And I would say finally, just keep a balanced perspective. Look, altcoins, definitely it's exciting. Altcoin season is super exciting. But it's also the time when people get greedy. Yeah. And that's when mistakes can happen. Uh, so yeah, lean in. This is the time to lean in. Play this rotation that's happening right now and enjoy the upside, but always with the mindset that risk is part of the reward. Okay. If something pumps and you're up pretty big, maybe move some of those profits into stable coins or back into BTC or ETH. Yeah. That's that way you're actually locking in your gains and you're still staying within the market. Right. And above all, do not assume that everything will go up together. That's just not how altcoin season works. Sectors will move in waves, and sometimes the best trade is not chasing the shiny thing, but waiting for the next sector to actually pop. Okay. So, in summary, the game plan in a nutshell is think in terms of sectors, not just coins, diversify smartly across market caps and narratives, take profits at intervals as you go up, manage your risk and emotions, and ultimately just stay grounded. All right, cool. Cool, folks. So let's just shift gears for a bit now and let's talk about some of the top news of the week. Um, And after this section, I will actually go ahead and talk about the sector that I am looking at for this coming week. And I'll also give you some coins that are in my watch list already. I've actually started allocating into those coins even today. And I will discuss that as well with you. First, let's just talk about the Genius Act that is now in law, and it's a big, big deal. So let's get into this, yeah? So we've been deep in market cycles and altcoin strategies, but this next bit of news is something that's going to have a long-term, I believe, structural impact on crypto. And if you've been tuning in to these weekly briefs, this won't come up as a surprise. We spoke about it a few weeks ago, before it was actually official, but now it's happened. The Genius Act has officially been signed into law in the United States. And I want to stress this very clearly. This isn't just another sort of, regulatory headline. This is one of the most important legal developments of crypto in years. Okay. So let me just give you a brief recap of what this is. The Genius Act is basically the first comprehensive framework for payment stable coins in the US. The law lays down very, very clear rules for how stable coins should be issued and managed. So, for instance, they need to be 100% backed by US dollars or treasuries. Issuers must monthly disclose and undergo, annual audits as well. Um, so, yeah, why is this significant, right? Now, for the first time, stablecoins in the US aren't operating in a sort of legal limbo. They have a real legal foundation now, and it is a stamp of legitimacy, right? Now, here's where things get very interesting when it comes to DeFi. While the headlines will tell you this is a win for stablecoin issuers like Circle, I believe, and many analysts believe, that the real winners over the long term could be DeFi and DeFi protocols. Okay, I'll explain why. Now, the Genius Act explicitly bans yield bearing stablecoins in traditional finance. So basically, if you're an investor or institution looking for yield on your dollars, you're now being pushed towards on chain solutions, DeFi solutions. So that means projects like Aave, like Compound, platforms that offer lending, borrowing, and yield opportunities are about to become the go-to infrastructure for anyone chasing these returns, right? So that's a direct sort of funnel of money from the sidelines into DeFi. Second, of course, this law gives credibility to stable coins like USDC, and that makes institutions much more comfortable using them in DeFi environments. Okay, whether it's for managing treasuries or participating in tokenized lending markets as well. And finally, now we have a clear government-backed rules for stablecoins. We're setting the stage for a wave of tokenization. uh, real world assets, on-chain treasuries, you name it, right? And where does that all happen? DeFi, DeFi protocols. So do not be surprised if the next wave of DeFi adoption doesn't come from, retail traders, but actually from corporates, from treasuries, from fintechs looking to do more with their dollars on chain, right? So what does this mean for us as investors and, participants in the market? If you've got DeFi exposure, if you actually hold DeFi tokens, this is a green light. Okay. Tokens like Aave, like Compound, like Lido could benefit as more capital flows into decentralized yield. Then there's other tokens like Camino, like Jito, all of these other protocols on different blockchains, right? Infrastructure plays, think of oracles like Chainlink. They stand to gain from more stablecoin and real world asset activity as well. Okay. So if you guys are holding these tokens, this is a huge, huge opportunity for you all. I want to know actually in the chat, uh, how many of you hold DeFi coins? And please list your coins as well so that I know that you guys are holding the right ones and I can point you perhaps towards coins that I see real potential now. Yeah. Use the Q&A box and I want to see how many of you actually hold DeFi tokens like Aave, like Lido, or any other blockchain coins that are in the DeFi space. Aave, Aave looks expensive, okay. Uh, I still think Aave has a lot of upside. I will Jupiter. Aerodrome is great. So yeah, Aerodrome is in my watch list. Um, it's on the base network and so the activity on base is immense right now. Most of the activity that's happening on Ethereum is happening on the base network. And I would actually say uh, Aerodrome is a better hold than Uniswap right now. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but that is where mindshare is, right? Uniswap is an OG DeFi token. It's an OG DEX, but Aero is where the mindshare is. So this is how you have to tweak your narratives as you go along. You cannot marry your bags. Okay, that's a big mistake that people do in altcoin season. All right. These are investments at the end of the day. So you need to be able to be flexible enough to move some tokens out and put them into better narratives. Aero is definitely one of them. Okay. Okay. Great. So yeah. So what does this tell us basically? This law tells us that stablecoins and by extension DeFi, they are here to stay. They are not fringe experiments. They are legitimate, regulated components of the next generation of, as we know it, finance. Okay. Now, if you're wondering what kind of headlines actually change the trajectory of this industry, it is this. It's headlines like this. The Genius Act basically unlocks the next phase of growth for on-chain finance. I truly believe this, and I think a lot of analysts believe that as well. And DeFi has been waiting for this sort of clarity, and it just got it. Okay, and from where I stand, this is one of those moments we look back on and say, this was the beginning of a new chapter. I truly believe that. Okay, so any of you who are holding these coins, continue doing so. And as altcoin season rolls along, you will see some appreciation to these coins. All right, cool. Okay, let's continue with the next news. Okay, now let's talk about another major story from this week, one that's directly tied to the theme that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. Crypto is becoming easier and easier to access. This time it's coming from a name you wouldn't usually associate with innovation in our space in crypto. It's PNC Bank. This is one of the biggest banks in the US, and they just rolled out crypto services for their customers. Okay, and they're doing it directly through a direct partnership with Coinbase. Okay. So what does this mean? Basically means that anyone who uses PNC, whether it's for their personal banking or business accounts, can now actually buy, sell, and hold crypto directly within their existing banking experience. There's no external wallets, there's no exchanges, just right there in the banking app, right? So it's simple, it's seamless, and it just brings crypto again to the mainstream, right? Um, Now I know what you're thinking, another bank getting into crypto, what's new? But the thing is, this is real, right? This is meaningful progress. We've said this before, but I think it's worth repeating. Mass adoption doesn't happen all at once. It happens step by step or brick by brick, right? And this is one of those bricks. Just think about it. A person who's never used a decentralized exchange or even signed up on an exchange can now access Bitcoin and Ethereum from the same place they check their savings account. Okay. A small business owner can start allocating some money into crypto from their business account without having to leave the safety of their bank, right? So all of this is huge, it's powerful. uh, and this is exactly how you bring millions of new people into the ecosystem without making them jump through any sort of hoops, right? And this fits perfectly with everything we've been seeing lately. The Genius Act lays the foundation for stablecoins. Now, this bank integration is offering crypto as a product, and it's baking it into everyday banking lives. Uh, Now, what does that tell me? This just says that crypto is no longer sitting on the edges. It's being brought right into the middle of traditional finance. And the way is that it's not flashy as well. It's just functional. It's happening behind the scenes, right? And we've been talking about infrastructure all throughout this cycle. This is what it looks like in practice. It's just making that bridge between traditional finance and DeFi a lot more simpler. Okay. Now, why does this matter for altcoin investors? I know this session has been all about altcoins, and let me tell you why. More access means more users. More users means more liquidity. What does that mean? More liquidity means more attention flowing across the board, not just to Bitcoin, but to ETH, into altcoins, DeFi ecosystems as well. Okay. So this is just another reminder that the doors are opening and it's happening fast. Every week now, we're seeing new banks integrating crypto, offering crypto to their users, their clients. Uh, and this is just happening at a time when the market usually does heat up. So we're seeing a lot of bullish factors coming together at the same time. Okay, so if you guys are positioned now, fantastic. If you guys haven't positioned yet, this is probably one of the best opportunities to try and get some positioning into place. Okay, cool. Let's keep going now, and I'm going to go into the sector that I am currently looking at and also the coins. I will discuss the coins with you as well. Okay. So each week, I like to zoom in on one corner of the crypto market that I believe is showing signs of early strength or is on the verge of actually attracting new capital or new money. Last week, we focused on decentralized storage, and I think that narrative is still very relevant. But this week, my attention has shifted back to one of the core parts of crypto, and it is layer ones. Okay. For anyone new to the space, I'll just explain what layer ones are, and I'll explain it very briefly. Yeah. Layer ones are base layer blockchains. They are basically the foundations of the crypto ecosystem. You can think of them as the infrastructure that everything else is built on. Think of Ethereum, think of Solana, BNB, Cardano. All of these are layer ones. These are the platforms that host smart contracts and they power DeFi, they power NFTs, gaming, and a whole lot of other applications. Okay, so you can think of it like a sort of base layer where different apps can be built on top of, right? And historically, and this is the main point, layer ones have been some of the biggest beneficiaries during altcoin season, especially during this early phase where we are in right now. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I believe that we are in the early to mid stage of altcoin season where money is just starting to rotate out of Bitcoin and into large cap alts. And when that happens, layer ones tend to be the first stops on that rotation journey. Okay. So why is this the week to focus on layer ones? That can be a very natural question, right? But there are actually a couple of reasons for this. We're seeing early strength. Now, coins like Solana, Ethereum have already started pushing higher, and they're doing so on the back of real volume. Okay. Now we're seeing a pullback. I think a pullback during what I believe is the start of an all season is opportunity. I see red days like this as opportunity. Yeah. Now, these are large cap with liquidity. This is point number two. For traders and institutions moving serious capital out of Bitcoin, it's not it's not practical to immediately get into smaller caps. They rotate first into the safer large cap plays, like I mentioned. Now, the third point is the analysis bit. There's growing activity that's happening on these chains, whether it be transaction volume or developer activity or new wallet addresses being created on these networks. That's a huge reason why I am looking at these, the coins that I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. So this week I've got my eyes on a specific short list of names in this category, coins that I believe have a strong risk to reward profile as this rotation continues to play out. Okay. So let me just tell you exactly which ones I'm looking at. And I'm sure all of you would have heard these names. All right. Firstly, Ethereum. I have actually allocated more into Ethereum. Next, I'm looking at is Solana. Solana has taken a decent dip today, but I think that Solana has a huge narrative and potential this time. Uh, and yeah, also huge activity taking happening on that network right now. Then I'm looking at BNB. BNB hit all-time highs, I think 2 days ago, and that has retraced significantly as well. But again, huge activity taking place on that network. Next, I'm looking at Cardano, ADA. So Cardano has massive community backing, and it's one of the OG coins, right? Cardano has been through market cycles, and usually capital flows into Cardano pretty quickly because of that community backing. Okay. And finally, I think a newer kid on the block compared to the rest of the coins is Sui. Sui, I'm very bullish on Sui, just because of the network adoption that's happening on that chain in terms of users, in terms of transaction volume, and whatnot. All of that is giving me signs that Sui could potentially be the next soul of this cycle. I truly believe that Sui is a coin that would be a good hold for this cycle. So those are the coins. It's Ethereum, Solana, BNB, Cardano, and finally I'm looking at Sui. Uh, I think an honorable mention over here would be Sonic, which was previously Phantom. Um, Sonic again has huge traction. They have an amazing team, amazing developer community, and they're building a very strong ecosystem there as well. Still in its early phases, but I would say that this is a riskier coin. The risk to reward is definitely higher, but yeah, this would be another coin if I had a sixth coin to put into my watch list. It would be Sonic, right? Cool. Um, cool, folks. Let's continue. All right. All right, folks. So that basically wraps up this week's crypto brief. Before I jump into the Q&A, I want to quickly share something exciting that's been live on Mudrex since July 17th, and it's actually running until the end of this month, until 31st. We're hosting a trading event that rewards you for just doing what you've already been doing. There's no forms to fill, there's no complicated tasks. You basically trade and you're in. Okay, that's it. I'll explain the rewards on offer very briefly. Uh, if you cross $10,000 in futures volume on any given day, you earn 1 USDT straight into your account. Just like that, daily rewards for just staying active. But that's not all. There are also milestone rewards based on your total cumulative volume throughout the event. Let me give you a few examples here. If you hit 200K in volume, you get $25. If you cross 500K, you get $50. If you hit 1 million in trading volume, you get $75. And if you go all the way to 2 million, you will bag $100. And the best part is you'll actually stack those rewards. So if you hit 1 million in total volume, you don't just get 75, you will get 25 plus 50 plus 75, which equals 150 in total. Um, Now, for those of you who love a bit of competition, we've also got a leaderboard running. The top 10 traders by volume during the event window win some pretty epic prizes. Uh, for example, the top trader wins a Kawasaki Ninja 650. There are some awards like MacBook Pro M4, the latest iPhone, an iPad, and many more, right? So you get the idea. Um, so yeah, it's just all about trading. Your volume is automatically tracked. You can view your rank, your progress, and rewards right inside the Mudrex app under the leaderboard tab. And yes, even if you start midway through the event, like today, you're still eligible. Just make sure to rack up enough volume before July 31st to claim your share of the rewards. Okay. Uh, if you guys want the link to the blog as well, which has all of the details, just raise your hand or comment on the Q&A box, and I can share that link with you right away. Okay. Um, okay. One more thing before I get to the Q&A. Yeah. If you're new to Mudrex and you haven't made your first deposit yet, we have this special offer for you all. When you deposit 5,000 rupees or more into your Mudrex account, we'll instantly credit you with 500 rupees worth of Bitcoin. There's no fine print. There's no hoops to jump through. Just make sure to use the promo code that you see on the screen right now, Anush500, during your first investment, and you'll see that bonus BTC land right into your account. Okay. Um, Okay, folks, I think that wraps up all of the announcements for today. Let's move into the Q&A. Feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box, whether it's about coins, whether it's about any sort of features that you are looking at on Mudrex, or anything else that you're curious about. If you want to discuss your favorite altcoins, I'll try to get through as many as I can. All right, cool. So let me go to the Q&A box. And firstly, let I have a few people who have their hands raised. So you will be able to ask your question as well. Karthik, I see that your hand is raised, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Yes, Karthik. Okay. Okay, I'll go to the next person. I'll come back to you, Karthik. Uh, Ankur, I see that your hand is raised as well. I'm just going to go ahead and unmute.
Hi, Anush.
Yes, Ankur. Hi.
Hi. So, Anush, I'm actually very new to this crypto field, and
Yeah.
I just went through a session. So, I
Yep.
just want to understand if, in case I want to, search uh, basis the sector, what
Yep.
all sectors, or how should I think in that manner for a fresher, for a new person who's very
Got it.
new to this? Yeah.
Got it. I'll show you right away. I'm going to share my screen and you'll be able to see a website. Okay. This
Okay.
is the best way to categorize with sectors. So this site is called Coin Market Cap. It's like a sort of aggregator and dashboard for crypto. Uh,
Okay.
and you'll be able to see all of the different sectors over here. All right. So for
Okay.
example, if you see here, there's a tab called categories, right?
Okay.
You
Yeah.
click on categories,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to take you to all of the different sectors. So if I go
Okay.
to AI and big data, these are the top coins within that sector. All
Okay.
right. And if I want to go to, let's say, uh, AI memes, for instance,
Okay.
you will be able to see all of the top coins, and usually it'll be marked from the highest market cap to the lowest. Uh,
Okay.
for anybody who's coming into the space for the first time, I would always say, from a risk to reward perspective,
Mhm.
just look at the market cap that has the largest volume. So
Okay.
for this AI memes category, it would be Turbo. Uh, but again, this is just one category, right? I would say this is the best way to do it. Um, you'll be able to see all of the different categories over here. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in terms of the categories that I know there's many here, so you can get lost in it, but
Yeah.
just look at layer ones. So you'll see layer one here. And I would also say look at AI. So AI category, so AI and big data and layer ones as the, I would say high, it's not high risk, it's best risk to reward ratio right now at this moment. Okay.
Just one thing before that. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sorry, I'm asking one more thing.
Not at all, not at all. Yeah.
So you were saying something about money flowing from treasuries to now into cryptos to
Yep.
the financial world. So
Yep.
how to search that sector, or I mean, how to go about that?
Okay, so currently, Ankur, that money flow is happening only in specific coins because there isn't a sort of accessible product for these huge public companies to actually access crypto, right? So
Okay.
it's happening through spot ETFs, it's happening through um, cryptos that have turned into a sort of investment vehicle for traditional finance, right?
Mhm.
So these coins are simple. It's Bitcoin, it's
Okay.
Ethereum, and currently it's also Solana. These are the
Okay.
coins where money is flowing from these huge institutions, hedge funds,
Okay.
as of now. But
Okay.
I am sure that there will be other ETFs within the altcoin sector that will come about.
Mhm.
When that does,
Okay.
we'll definitely have another webinar where we can go through that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
absolutely. Okay, let's go ahead and open the Q&A box. I see a lot of questions there. Um, okay, okay, so somebody's asked about Bitensor and Akash Network. Okay, these are great coins. So these are again within the AI sector. Tau and AKT, I think those are the tickers. Um, Definitely in the AI sector, these are the coins that I'm looking at from a watch list perspective. I do have some exposure to Tau. Akash Network, I've kept it on my watch list. They have a very good community happening as well. Brilliant developer community there. Other than Akash Network and Tau, I would also say look at AOS. AOS is a it's a fast growing network, and once this altcoin season actually goes into mid caps, I do believe that these three coins have potential to run. So yeah, these are great coins to hold. Um, okay, okay, Shrish, can you cover the additional topics in our next week's session? Dex Screener, DeFi Llama, or any other important? Great, yeah, of course. Thank you for this feedback. I will definitely cover this. Um, Dex Screener is definitely something that I use as well. But again, this is very high risk, high reward Dex Screener. You get very obscure altcoins over there that tend to last for a very short period of time. But I will show you Dex Screener. DeFi Llama I use every day for my research. DeFi Llama is basically it shows you the total value locked and different on-chain metrics that actually tell you where and how a project might grow. So I will definitely talk about this as well. Another important portal that I will talk about is Artemis. I think I've mentioned this in previous webinars, but I'll go into deep dive into how you can do on-chain analysis using Artemis. Uh, and what else? Crypto USDT transfer from other exchanges. Perfect. Yeah. So basically, I'll go through how to do an on-chain transfer, which is very simple. I'll show you exactly how you can do that from Mudrex to any other external wallet as well. Thank you, Shrish, for that feedback. We will definitely have that for our next session. Um, okay, XRP. Okay, XRP has had an amazing week. I know right now, if I have a look at the price, let me just quickly have a look. Full disclosure, I do not hold any XRP, but I do think that it's a coin that has a lot more room to grow. Um, Yeah, so it's at 3.16 now. It has had a decent pullback, but it did reach all-time highs recently. And there's a strong narrative for XRP now. The regulatory doors are open for Ripple. For the longest time, they were held down by the US SEC. They had a huge court case that finally is now done. It's settled, and XRP can now innovate freely, right? So people are coming back to this network. What we actually saw, and we did a thorough research on this last week, in fact, is that we're seeing old wallets actually coming back and accumulating more XRP. So that just tells us that people, the OGs, the whales are buying again. Just shows conviction, right? So yeah, XRP in terms of price, uh, I think it has already rallied quite a bit. Like if I look from uh, November last year to the top, which happened uh, just this week, it's up nearly 6x, so 593% up. Uh, I don't think it's going to do another 593% from here, but I do see more rally, more upside from a technical perspective. I can say that uh, I can see easily a $6 XRP, so around 80% from here. Uh, but more than that, it would take a huge, huge catalyst for XRP to reach double digits because it has a huge market cap. You need to think of that as well uh, from a perspective. When there's a coin with a huge market cap, it requires a lot of money to actually move that coin. So that's the primary reason why a double digit XRP for this market cycle. I'm not seeing it right now, but that perspective might change very quickly. And when it does, I will definitely be back here to explain it. All right. Let's go over some more coins. Views on Hedera, HBAR. Okay, so HBAR was a great coin that I held back in 2021, but right now I have rotated out of HBAR. Actually, most of my HBAR is now in a different coin. The primary reason why I have is because I'm just not seeing enough attention or adoption taking place on this network as I did back in 2021. 2021, they were having partnerships left and right. People were talking about this coin, but that attention economy is not on HBAR anymore. Not saying that you won't see upside, but I think there's better opportunities there, like Hyperliquid and Sui. So what I'm doing right now is I am minimizing my exposure to many coins. I'm trying to narrow down my portfolio, just have maximum 6 to 7 coins so that I can track them every day. When you have a huge portfolio during altcoin season, it can be difficult to track. Okay, so 6 to 7 alts I hold plus Bitcoin, of course. Uh, but yeah, that's all I'm limiting it to now. I am narrowing down my focus, and like I said, HBAR was a great hold for a long time, but I do think there's better opportunities out there. Okay, so rate cut is always getting postponed. What is your view on this, and when will we expect rate cut to happen? Okay, so rate cuts, I don't think a rate cut is going to happen this month, simply because of the tariffs that's continuing to be there. That has caused a little bit of spike in the CPI. Um, so what we're seeing now is that we have a window. We have a window of a couple of months until September. I do believe September there will be a rate cut. If not in December, but I do think that we will see a rate cut this year, at least one, because if the Fed doesn't cut rates uh, soon enough, that's a very big blow to the economy, actually, especially because it is nearing to their target of 2%, which they have been promising for the past year or so. And I think there's increasing pressure on Jerome Powell and the US Fed to cut these rates. We are seeing it from Donald Trump itself now. So, uh, and I think a lot of analysts are expecting at least one rate cut to happen. And from our analysis and also what everybody's expecting, a September rate cut looks more and more likely. And if that happens, I will be back for another session because that completely changes the game. I do believe that. It perfectly aligns with where I think all season might be headed. If a rate cut happens in September, we'll see the most explosive phase between September to November max. Yeah. Okay, typically, how long do these sector coins rally? Is it 1 to 2 weeks based on history? Okay, so I think there are some sectors which rally longer. Layer ones, for example, will rally longer because they are the infrastructure base layer. Usually these rally for months, okay? Uh, and the most explosive phase will be around 2 weeks. That's what I've seen in 2017 and 2019 as well. Um, 2 weeks is what you see the most explosive phase. But that being said, they actually trickle up, and there is volatility, of course, during that time. But layer ones usually outlast. They are there for months, 4 to 6 months is what I've seen. And other sectors like meme coins, they are much shorter and much more volatile. All right, so you have to be positioned that way. But on average, I would say uh, a month for most of the other sectors. Typically, that's when these sector coins rally. All right. Now, another way of thinking about this, if you think sector coins is, it's going to over diversify my portfolio, you can think of crypto as different ecosystems, right? Uh, this is what I did in the bear market actually in 2023. I was accumulating of a lot of Solana ecosystem coins because I saw that Solana was undervalued, especially after the FTX collapse, right? Uh, a lot of people dismissed Solana as a dead chain, but if you actually saw the on-chain metrics during that time, people were still using the network, and actually it was growing, right? So I decided to go all in on Solana. I had Solana as my infrastructure, and then I had coins within Solana. So I had Radium, I had like the DeFi tokens in Solana. I even had some NFT uh, platforms on Solana, right? So all of those saw some great growth. Of course, now I don't hold them because I'm trying to narrow down. But what I did was I rotated those profits into these coins that I believe have more upside during this last phase of uh, the bull market, right? I'm not saying we're at the last phase right now, but in terms of the broader perspective, I don't think we're at the start either, right? We're somewhere in the middle now. Okay. So yeah, typically I hope I've answered your question. It's a month or so. Okay, guys, I'll take another question now. Um, is it best to buy Bitcoin right now, either through SIP or generally in small amounts, or should we wait till it's uh, down the next 2 to 3 years so we can buy it at its lowest possible assumable price and hold it until its next boom? Okay, that's a great question. Uh, See, right now, I do think we're entering an altcoin season. I do think that money is rotating out of Bitcoin and new money is coming into alts. But that being said, I do SIP into Bitcoin regardless of its price. Every week I put in an amount into Bitcoin. Plus, now I'm more heavily allocating into alts. Uh, Right now, I do think it's not a bad time to DCA into Bitcoin. There is still more upside. But if you're looking for a long-term hold and you're not trying to time the top, or you're not trying to exit the market in this market cycle, continue just putting an SIP for Bitcoin, either weekly or monthly, whatever fits for you, whatever is more convenient for you, and just continue doing that because that has been the best strategy for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a long-term hold. I do think Bitcoin will reach new milestones, of course, next bull market, but this bull market itself, I do see Bitcoin reaching close to 200K. A lot of people seem to say 180, 170 to 200K. I see that range as well. But $1 million Bitcoin, I don't think that's far-fetched at all. Okay. I don't think that's far-fetched at all. And I do think that we are seeing a huge shift in Bitcoin and how people view Bitcoin as an asset. I think Bitcoin is its own separate asset class now. And if you are thinking from a long-term perspective, Mohak, I would definitely say allocate Bitcoin as and when you can, regardless of the price, if you're thinking long-term. Okay. All right, folks. Okay. I think I'll just take just one more question I'll take here. Should I be buying altcoins right now and keep flipping them to increase capital by locking in small profits, or should I buy them right now and keep holding them until September, October when they might hit their boom? Yeah, I would say uh, start getting into alts, right? Again, like I said, don't go into the riskier part of alts right now. That rotation hasn't started yet. Start with follow the money, follow the money flow. Where is the money going now? It's going to large caps, right? So start allocating there. And then when you see a flip happening, when you see DeFi running, that's when you know that the mid caps have started running. Then when you see coins that you didn't even know existed, that's when you should start thinking of taking some profits from your large cap. Okay. When you see coins like random dog themed coins running out of nowhere, that's my sign to exit. Okay. That's when I say, okay, I'm exiting 90% of my alts. I'm rotating that money back into Bitcoin or stable coins, and I'm moving on. Yeah. I am then DCing into Bitcoin, and again, the market cycle will follow. That's how I approach these cycles. Right. Cool, folks. I hope this was a good session for you all. I hope you've taken something away from this session. I want you all to be prepared for what is coming next. It's going to be an exciting phase. Just remember that crypto will have days like this. There will be red days, but these are you should treat them as opportunities, all right? Because you won't see many red days like this during this phase. And just get prepared. Do your research, do your own research, pick your own narratives, but just think of what I've mentioned today, all right? Cool, folks. I will see you all again next week. Um, in fact, I have another session which is happening on our Telegram community at 8 p.m. today. For those of you who are aware of this, we actually host a live crypto futures trading event on our Telegram. So you'll actually be able to see us trade live, and we're going to be talking about a sector there as well. So if you guys are interested and you'd like to join us at 8 p.m., drop a comment on the chat and I will send the Telegram invite to you so that you guys can just join in and watch our session, right? You'll be able to understand
Chat
how.
is disabled.
Sorry, come again, Ankur.
Chat was disabled.
Just go ahead and put your comment in the Q&A box. I can then send you the invite there itself. Let me just copy. I'm getting some requests now, so I'm going to copy this invite. And all right. Okay, I'm sending the invite right away, guys. Cool. Uh, Arun, I am sending you the invite. Srinath, I'm sending you the invite as well. Remember, guys, this is happening at 8 tonight. Sending you the invite, Sheikh. Uh, Sending Suchitra, I'm sending you the invite too. Cool, guys. All right. Karthik, sending it to you too. Ankur, sending that. Cool. Also, guys, when you join in, I know that we will be talking just about a sector, but if you have any coins that you would like for us to do technical analysis live on stream, this is a very interactive session, okay? So if you have any sort of coins that you want us to look at, just comment on the general channel, the link that I'm sending, and we can actually look at that coin for you live, and we can tell you where exactly we think that coin is going, okay? Yeah, that session is going to be in English, Agant. Okay, cool, guys. I think on that note, I will drop from today's session. Just remember that again, next Thursday, same time, we'll have the weekly crypto brief. We'll see where all coins are then. Might have moved a lot by then. So, yeah, it's an exciting phase, guys. Just remember to trade well, trade smart, and just take into account of all of the tips and tricks that I've mentioned today. Okay. Cool, folks. See you all and join us for the 8 p.m. session. Bye bye.
Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions. For any queries, contact us at help@mudrex.com.